What if I told you that some of your most vivid memories, especially the ones shaped by trauma, might never have happened at all? That your brain, in trying to protect you, could be rewriting your past with false details, creating stories you swear are true. This is the scary truth about trauma and false memories. Our memories feel like unshakable truths, the building blocks of who we are. But what if the brain could lie to us? What if the most painful experiences you remember were never quite real in the way you think? Trauma doesn't just scar the body, it can twist reality itself, planting false memories that feel just as vivid as the truth. Tonight, we uncover the scary truth about trauma and false memories. They say memory is the thread that weaves our identity together. Every moment we recall, every story we tell, feels like a piece of who we are. But what if those memories, especially the ones tied to painful events, aren't as reliable as we think? The scary truth is that trauma can actually distort our memories, even creating ones that never happened. And once a false memory takes root, it can feel just as real, just as vivid as any true experience. When the human brain experiences trauma, it goes into survival mode. Stress hormones flood the body, the fight or flight response kicks in, and the brain scrambles to process overwhelming information. In moments like these, memory doesn't act like a perfect recording device. Instead, it's fragmented, scattered, and prone to error. The brain fills in missing details with guesses, and later, those guesses can harden into what feels like undeniable truth. Imagine your mind taking a jigsaw puzzle with missing pieces and forcing random shapes into the gaps, convincing you that the picture is complete even when it isn't. False memories can form in subtle ways. A person might recall the general outline of a traumatic event, but insert details that never happened. They might believe they were hurt in a certain location or by a certain person, even when the evidence says otherwise. Sometimes, an event that was terrifying but brief becomes remembered as longer, more dramatic, or filled with details the brain invented later. The worst part? Once the false memory is locked in, it doesn't feel false. It feels authentic, leaving the person absolutely certain of its truth. Psychologists have studied this phenomenon for decades. One famous experiment showed how easy it is to implant memories. Participants were told stories about their childhood, including some that were completely fabricated, like being lost in a shopping mall. After hearing these suggestions, many participants later remembered the event vividly, describing what they saw, felt, and even smelled, despite the fact that it never occurred. If simple suggestions can create such false memories, imagine the effect of trauma. When emotions are high, the mind is vulnerable, and the need to make sense of chaos is overwhelming. For trauma survivors, false memories can develop as the brain tries to protect itself. Sometimes, the mind reshapes an unbearable event into something it can handle. Other times, it blurs the lines between dreams, fears, and reality. And while this might help someone survive emotionally in the short term, it can lead to confusion, guilt, and even conflict with others later on. A person may be absolutely convinced of something that loved ones insist never happened. This clash between perceived truth and objective reality can tear apart families, friendships, and even entire communities. But here's what makes it even scarier. False memories aren't always completely false. They often mix bits of reality with fragments of imagination. The brain stitches together real feelings, half-remembered sights, and outside influences, like things people said or stories heard on TV, until they become inseparable. This creates memories that are partly true, partly fiction, and nearly impossible to untangle. Think about the implications. Courtrooms rely on eyewitness testimony, yet trauma survivors may unknowingly give accounts filled with inaccuracies. Therapists help people recover from painful experiences, but even well-meaning techniques can accidentally implant false details. And on a personal level, many of us may be walking around with memories that feel real but aren't. If our memories shape who we are, what happens when those memories are built on shaky ground? The scary truth is that the mind is not a perfect historian. Trauma reshapes memories in ways that are vivid but unreliable, raw but deceptive. And while that might sound terrifying, it also reveals something profound. Memory is less about recording the past and more about protecting us in the present. The brain isn't trying to trick us, it's trying to keep us alive. So the next time you look back on a painful memory, remember this: what you recall may not be the full truth. It may be your brain's best attempt at survival, even if it means rewriting history. Trauma can create false memories, and those memories can shape the very core of who we believe we are. The mind is powerful, but not perfect, and in the shadows of our past, it may be hiding stories that never really happened. Memory isn't a flawless record, it's a survival tool. Trauma can reshape it, distort it, and even create moments that never happened, all in an effort to protect us. But those false memories can shape our identity, our relationships, and our sense of reality. The scary truth is that the past you remember may not be the past that actually happened. So the next time you look back on a painful memory, ask yourself, how much of it was real, and how much was your mind rewriting history?